Now, if you've watched this show before, you know these are colors I'm not Miss Pink person. Okay, here comes a good one. Something unexpected in the shadows. I like to put unexpected things everywhere. I don't know, you ever remember being a kid and playing with the shadows on the wall and doing little birds? Welcome to Give Your Walls Some Soul. I'm Shannon Grissom. I'm just cracking up because that monkey looked really relaxed today. And I'm kind of in a zen mode today too, so I think that's how the whole show is going to go. This show is filmed live to tape. That means there's no editing. What you see is what you get. So this is, I guess, reality TV in Shannon's world as far as painting. But it gives you a good idea of what really can happen during the painting process. Now, last time on Give Your Walls Some Soul, we did a show that was a two-parter that's not a two-parter. We worked on this little child's face and hat. And today we're doing the second part of the two-parter that's not a two-parter. And we're going to work on his scarf. So this scarf definitely has soul. And I'm going to work on that and then show you maybe second and third stages about where we would go with this painting. So I'm going to get going on the scarf. First thing I want to do is mix up some blues. So I'm going to take some ultramarine blue. And I think I'll put some violet in there to make that a nice dark. That's pretty. I'm wiping my knife and I'm going to add a little bit of light. I'm going to make a dark, a medium, and a light value for this scarf. That's pretty. And I'm going to check and see if I'm heading in the right direction. Because I didn't match the color that was on the original reference photo, I'm checking this against my actual painting to see if this is going to work. So I'm going to hold it up and say, okay, do I like this? You know what? It's just too darn close to that, to the shirt. So I'm going to have to really make that more blue. I'm adding a little bit more ultramarine blue. That's better. Yeah, I like that. I don't want to compete with the shirt. Yeah, that's good. So that's a good medium. Let's see, oops, a little too violet. A little bit of that left. Somehow when I was setting up my palette today, speaking of violet, I hadn't even started painting yet. The show hadn't even started yet. And somehow I had purple paint up my nose. I must have scratched my nose before the thing started. And so then I tried to get it off. And dang, if I didn't have a purple mustache. So we had some technical difficulties before this thing started, but we got them worked out now. All right, that's a nice dark. And then I'll make a nice light. These guys all have to be nice today. We're not allowing any grumps. All right, so we got a dark, a medium, and a light. And when you think about this and when you're looking at the reference photo, the only thing that's really light and really bright is in the background, which I'm going to lighten that up a bit later. But this is all more in the mid-ranges. So I'm just going to add a little bit of white to this. And just grab a tiny bit of this and move it over. Now let's see if those values hold. They look good. So I don't always do this, but I pre-mix this, and that'll make this painting process faster. Love that. Okay. Now what am I going to start with? I'll start with the lights. And there are certain rules of things you're supposed to do, whether you start from dark to light, light to dark. But I don't do it. I don't do it that way. I start with whatever feels good to start with. Now there are certain things that are logical. If you've got an all-white canvas and you start with white, well, it's kind of hard to see where you're going. So dark would be good. But you don't always have to do that. And we're in the middle of the painting process, so that's not as vital. All right, so where do I see some light shapes? I see, sound like Miss Marianne here. I see light right here. I like that blue. That's a good happy color. And there's some light right around this. I'm going to kind of outline that. You see, at this stage of the painting process, I'm a little more conservative than I usually am when I start out on a painting. Don't worry, we'll get wild later. Because there are a couple reasons for that. One, when you start off on this area, it's going to be slow, it's going to be contemplative. And as you finish, it gets tighter and tighter and very detailed. So that's the nature of this piece. The nature of this person, though, is that I can only work that way so long, and I'm going to have to go woohoo pretty quick. So I will work and get this scarf to a certain point, and then I'm going to have to just do something huge because I can't help it. So what I'm trying to tell you when you're painting is go with your nature. It'll make you a better painter. Okay, so this is light. Where else do I see some light? Right up here. And I think I missed something. It just goes all the way up to his little chin. So I'm just going to go right over the background there. A little bit of light there. Now sometimes when I skip all over the place, I lose my place. So I'm going to actually put some dark, mediums, and lights and just work my way down like a swarm of locusts. That's light. Okay, well, I'm going to throw some dark in just so things will start to make sense. Getting a different brush, just because I don't want to clean this one. And I'm going straight to the darkest dark. I'm going to leave the middle for later. Maybe a tiny bit of medium. Why am I going to the dark? Because I really want to get myself a map. All right, so it's dark right here. And I started working with this brush and I realized this is probably not the most effective brush for this area. And I'm just going to admit that and get another one. Why isn't it good? Because it's old and it's scruffy, so it's going to be great for blending, but for this detail work in the beginning, I need something that's not so splayed. There's a time and place for old and scruffy, but this isn't it. Speaking of old and scruffy, okay, you just got to see people in the background that are shaking their head going, oh my God, she's not going there. Please don't go there. The only thing it was reminding me of was before I came down here, I actually got a senior discount. I was getting food for the crew, and this little gal behind the counter, you know what? I didn't complain because I got the discount, but it cracked me up. I thought, okay, there's been a shift in consciousness here. So I was feeling old and I was looking scruffy, but they gave me a discount. Yeah, I like that blue. That's good. Now something I'm gonna have to address later is that I made the hat a little too blue. It needs to be blacker so that it really anchors this. I'm gonna have dark on the bottom, dark hair, and then more of the color in here. So eventually I'm gonna have to address that, but I need to get the scarf done now. And you know, when I first came into the studio, people were saying, "Wow, you know, you're gonna spend all that time on a scarf?" Well, you can spend a good amount of time just getting all these folds together. I won't do that because I won't bore you with that, but I definitely want to. It's definitely going to take a good chunk of the program. But as you know, it's more than just watching the paint go on. All right, so I'm looking at these dark shapes here. And there's like a little dark outline there. Now, is this too bright? Well, yeah. It is according to the reference photo. Is it working with the painting? So far, it's okay, so I'm going to leave it. You know I'm always turning the color up a notch, so, or 2, or 3, or 4. If you like it and you can make it work, go for it. Okay, so now I'm going to put in a medium color just because I'm ready for that. Finding just the right brush so I don't get in trouble again. When I start picking up different brushes again, that's when you know I'm getting into it. I got 2 or 3 brushes going. Okay, that was my medium. Yeah, that's going to work. I like that. I wasn't too sure when I saw it on the palette. But once I transferred it, it was definitely going to be okay. I think I need to do a sock monkey rodeo guy. That's coming after the golf images. Gonna have to do a sock monkey golfer. That's just taking over right now. Okay, now I'm gonna bring these together. Boy, that shape's a little messed up, so I'm just going to clean that up a little. And let them meet. There are things that I'm changing because I didn't like the way they looked on the reference photo. And if you can make it work, go for it. So what did I not like? I didn't like certain angles. Like, here's an example, even though I'm not here yet. I'm going to move this out a little bit because this is just this weird, awkward straight line. And in the reference photo, it's pretty much straight line like that. But that does not make a good painting. So I'm I'm either going to push the dark in or pull the light out, either way to break that line up. And this, even though there's light coming in the reference photo here, that's awkward too. So I'm gonna work on that. But when I was painting it as I saw it. So now I'll change it. So go ahead and change anything that doesn't feel right to you. I love that saying that people don't remember what you said to them, but they always remember, I can't remember the exact words. They don't remember what you said to them, but they always remember how you made them feel. And I want people to feel good when they look at my work, so I'm hoping that my energy will convey that. So the same thing, whatever you're feeling when you're painting, it's going to come out. And down at the tip, it's a little darker. You could systematically put in all the darks and then all the lights and all the, whatever way works for you. I thought about, you know how I love red, and there's just not much red here at all. I thought about making the scarf red. But I couldn't do that because, well, I decided not to do that. I could do that. But I didn't want the scarf to be the center of interest. I really wanted you to push back and just look at the little boy's face. So the scarf, that color could not be the diva. So I decided to keep it low key, keep it cool, and later I will play the light on his face. Had to make sure I grabbed the right brush. So there are times that I show restraint for the good of the painting. Of course, I have other red paintings going on in the studio, so I don't go through withdrawal. Okay, now this dark's going to come out and meet this. I'm applying less pressure there. And I'm going to overstate this medium tone, and then we're going to blend, push that into that so that it, push that into that. Push this dark area into the medium area, and we'll create a new tone. This scarf is very tonal at this point. And at my first statements typically are. And what do I mean by a first statement? The first time I approach the canvas, before I get it all covered. I basically just do it light, medium, and dark, and then I go in and impose color. I'm getting softer when I get to the edges here. Let's see, is that light? Yeah. Okay, so now I can take that scruffy brush that didn't work for the other stuff and blend this. Now you can see the amount of work that it takes just to do this little scarf area. So there was no way that we could do in an hour, that's something that's filmed live, the entire shirt. That's why we're doing little sections. But you're applying the same way that you paint the scarf is the same way you're going to paint the shirt. Same techniques. So I'm not putting any more paint on my brush. I'm just moving it over here, and I'm going to pull this up here lightly. Yeah, that's looking good. Okay, then I'll start moving on to another area. I think this could be just a tad bit darker right in here. So I'm going to take some dark with the scruffy brush. Now it's okay to use it. Because now I'm not at the point of drawing, I'm just painting here. The other little brushes were for more drawing. Okay, so that's dark. We've got a little triangle there. And I need to join the light area here. And I'm going to leave that alone and move on to some other areas. I could futz with that for a while. But at least you're starting to get a sense of the inside of that area of the scarf. All right, so where else do I see some? Time to put all these brushes down and just go back to one, get focused. All right, let's see, under here is dark. Need a little more paint and a little more medium. And there's a little wrinkle there. What's that doing? That's dark here. And I always ask myself, what are these shapes doing? Where do I need to I'm looking at the different shapes of these pieces so that I can see where to place the dark, mediums, and light. That looks, it's a nice dark shape. Right where it hits here is dark. Not the whole area, just part of it. A little bit of dark there. Okay, now the other thing that you're probably noticing is that when I started off slow, I was very methodical, and I'm starting to pick up speed and get a little looser. Now that's kind of like warming up. You know, you hit your first few golf balls and they're all over the place, but then you start getting into a groove, you get a rhythm down, and before you know it, they're going, hopefully, going in a good direction. And then if not, your swing's feeling better. Well, the same thing with painting. You start off, you get a rhythm going. You're warming up, and then all of a sudden things just start clicking, and you forget you're on TV. Okay, I'll add some light. Go back to the light area so that I don't lose those. All right, so there's a light blob here. Another bit of light. I had a great call from a viewer who's been watching the show, and she had her first show. That's just awesome. So I'm excited that you guys are painting and that you're putting your work out there. That's really cool. Okay, so there's some more light there. Some light here. I'm overstating the light, and I'll go over it with a little bit of dark color because it's just easier to do that. We talked about this before. It's easier to overstate the light than to try to paint around the dark. Once you get into some of the darker tones and you can muddy that up, especially if you're paint like I do and you're not that careful. Like I just picked up some blue that I didn't mean to, but it's okay. Okay, and I see a bunch of light right here that I don't want to lose. And I don't want to lose that one either. Okay, now what's happening right up here? I'm going to add just a tiny bit of light right at the top of this, but then it'll be mostly medium. I just want that separation. And you know, that blue just looks really beautiful against, I love it when that happens. It looks really beautiful against the redness of his neck. These kids are so amazing. They practice and practice and practice for hours. Okay, so now I'm going to try a lighter color. Light medium. So I'm putting that right at the top. I'm going to blend that kind of with the color that's already there, that light. I think I need to make sure that the light just pretty much goes all the way to the right next to this dark area. Whoops. Got some This is a good mistake to happen because then I can show you how to correct it. I got some paint, lighter blue paint right on his neck in a place I didn't want it. Now, if the whole thing was still wet, I just blend it in and say, oh well. But I don't have to do that today because I can take a little bit of medium and erase it. So I took a little bit of medium, pull it off there, and then I'll just take my paper towel and pretend it didn't happen. Don't you wish life was that easy? Great, now his neck's all better. All right, it still looks squirrely here, still some really random shapes, but you know what? It'll start to come together. All right, so let's get one little piece done, and that way, I don't know about you guys, but when I have a million projects going on at one time, I want to at least finish one of them because I hate having that many things open. I really like to get things done. So this is kind of the equivalent of too many projects going on, so I'm going to at least finish this knot and then finish this area and then just get some sense of closure here. All right, so I'm going to blend this a little bit, and there's some medium right here. Pretty much right down the line there. And then I got to put that dark back in. I'm going to overstate this and lighten it up as I sneak on into it. I don't know what I did there. That's just a little bit overdone. Imagine me doing that. Okay, and I'm just going to put this light all the way up into that dark and see what's happening here. Just on the edges. And there's some more dark there. There's always a danger when I work on something this in this area like this because it is very contemplative. And I do get sucked into the painting. And that's when the camera guys start throwing things at me. so that I'll remember to talk to you. So if you ever see me just kind of jerk for whatever reason, it's like, okay, Shannon, wake up. Such an interesting shift of consciousness to do this right-left brain thing, to go in and out. Okay. I will blend this little section here. I think I need my towel to wipe this off because I'm making a muddy mess. So I'm just scrubbing this in here. And I think I'm going to push some of this over, even though it doesn't say that. I was talking with somebody about when you're assembling things, which is going to come up pretty soon around the holidays. You have to do more assembling than normal. And there are people who read the directions all the way through and carefully go through everything. And then there's people like me who I get started on a project and I don't go to the directions until I get into trouble. So you know what? Again, paint toward your inclination. So if you're lucky, you never get into trouble and you don't have to read the directions. Of course, there's things you could miss by not reading the directions. That's why it's good to have a partner that does read them for balance. Okay, I got to move on to this because otherwise I could stay on this little knot the whole time and you guys would be sleeping. Now I'm just going to throw in the darks over the top. Clean that up a little. Another dark area here. And move on. All right, so this was dark. This was a medium tone. Nice little mid-tone. And I have to push that light over because I didn't push it over far enough. Whoops. And hopefully it'll still work because I got my brush pretty dirty before I realized what I was doing. So I'm blending this. Throw that in. Okay, now I can put that back over the top. And I think what I'm going to do is just put the dark in. We're going to start to pick up speed here. Put the dark in and throw some light over the top. I'm just going to do this as one big shape. Now, what would I do if I were at home and I weren't thinking, I wasn't worried about time constraints? It depends on my mood whether I would stay at a slow and steady pace the whole time. There are other times when I would just only go so far and have to start painting faster. There are certain commissions that require that kind of detail, and so I'll only work on them about an hour at a time, and then I stop. Okay, that's good. We got a nice little hole there, nice little thing there. Blend that together. These are really abstract shapes. So this is a good lesson in an abstract painting, abstract within a realistic subject. So if you start okay, if you start identifying shapes as far as, what does this look like? What is this? So that you can, if that helps you to translate how to paint them. I looked at this, this little part, this little knot of his scarf, and it just reminded me, I've been painting a lot of horses and cows and stuff, and so it just reminded me of nostrils, this little area here. And so whatever helps you to get that shape right, you go for it. I need to add this light here all the way up so that we get that separation. There, that's good. Throw in some light here. Then I will blend. Blending is happy. I'm getting a clean, fairly clean brush. Bigger brush. And I'm going to blend and wipe this little area. I'm not applying a lot of pressure. No pressure here. Just lightly blending. Throw in a little color over there too. Blend and wipe. Try to keep that rhythm down. And then I'll throw some light over the top because I really did overdo the light. Didn't think that could happen, but it did. That shape was just a little too big. Throw in a little dark right there. It's starting to take shape. And then what you do is you just reinstate the darks after you've done all this nice little blending. That's pretty. All right, so no medium, just straight paint. Okay, maybe a little medium. Because it wasn't moving. So I need right under here in order to lift and separate this knot. Blend that a little, and then I'm moving on. Moving on over. And what I did was I'm just blending the bottom part. I'm not touching the top part. I'm leaving this edge hard. So to give you an idea what I'm talking about, this edge is going to stay hard. And this edge will be soft. So I'll throw in some midtones here. And I will blend just this bottom part, not the top. I'll leave that hard edge. All right, so right here, I'm blending with a dirty brush, just back and forth. Let's see what that scarf does. It goes further here, and that I messed up on the drawing a little bit. I missed that. So it goes a little further. There. And of course, when we do the shirt, we'll clean that up a little later, if we get to that. All right, so now I'll take the light, move that up, reinstate the darks, and we've got this little section here. Good, I'm tempted to play in here a little bit. Okay, I just have to. Just want to lighten that up a little bit. All right, so now reinstate the darks. And I'm just putting it in here. Shadow kind of goes like this. If you're trying to draw something, just do it really slow. Picture yourself, look at what you're looking at, and picture yourself being a little ant, just slowly crawling up. Okay, so my ant's going way too fast. Slowly crawling up the scarf, and it helps you get. It's like a contour drawing. It helps you get the right shape. All right, so what that did was that's a nice soft edge here, and then that's hard. That's great. I'm happy with that. Now we need to move forward. Yeah, okay, right there is a little darker place too, because it needs to rest on his little shoulder. I think I just contaminated the medium brush with the dark, but they'll get over it. Okay, so now I'll just lightly tap this and move on to the other area. Okay, so that's starting to pick up form. Well, it still looks like nostrils to me right here, I gotta tell you, because once it's like once you see something, you can't unsee it. Does that make sense? Well, that's just how it is. Okay, so let's see, let's put in some more dark here, and then we need to explode over this painting because it's just been too quiet so far. So, where's the dark? There's some more dark right here. And right there, right under the little hat, which definitely needs to be black. And then just add some medium. So I'm going to add the mid-tone there. I'm going to go ahead and put a little separation here too, just so lightly. There. Now it really looks like a nostril. That's good. Okay. Did you guys ever think you'd see me do something with a little red in it as this? Okay, now I'm going to start blending this into this, the medium into the very dark. And I'm going to overstate the light, even though it's not light there, just to keep this clean. Well, sort of clean. And I'm also kind of scrubbing out some of the pencil marks that were there. Now what we're doing here on the scarf, this is a first statement. You know me, I'll go in layer and layer and layer until I build it up the way I want it. Adding little bits of color, more nuances. But it gets you to where you start to see some form take shape. And you wouldn't have to take any further if you didn't want to. It all depends on where you want to go. That's dark. I kind of overdid that little area there. All right, so now I just need to put the dark in and really blend that. Leaving a little triangle of light right here on the edge. Where else? This is really not that light either, so we'll put that just right over the top. This is lighter than is under the hat. And that's darker, so I'm really gotta just be brave with it. Sometimes even I am timid. Sometimes I'm pretty chicken, really. But when I get like that with my work, I just wait till I got my confidence back and then work on that piece. Happens less and less, though, the more you paint. And sometimes you go into the studio, you don't think you have anything left, and you come out with miracles. And that's just cool. That's like golf, too. I tell you, one good shot, make me come back the next time. There are a lot of parallels. All right, I'll throw a little bit more dark in there, but you're starting to get a really good sense of the scarf, where it could go, it does starting to get some form. Still could use a little bit of work, but at this point it's too wet. I think I would just muck it up. And so I'm going to move on. Besides, I need to put some red down somewhere, somehow. Now the other thing is that this background is really, behind him is really light. And while I like this light green background, I think I need to lighten that up. I really do. So I'm going to go ahead and mix some of that. I'm going to get off of this scarf for now. Yeah, likely story, right? I'm still fussing with it. I'm going to get off this scarf and move into the background for a little bit. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take some straight white, a little bit of, this green is amazing. And I'm going to put some of this light right by his little face, light around him. Oof. I don't know if it's too much, but I'm going to try it. And it's just kind of fun because I have exercised restraint the entire show. So I've got to throw some color in here somewhere. What kind of a brush am I looking for? Well, I don't want anything that's squared off, so I'm looking for a filbert. There we go. A filbert that's a decent size. And let's see where there's some light. Right around this side of the, oh yeah, that's good. Right around this side of his hat. And it's light here too. And I'm just going to scrub this in and do it until in kind of random motion until the paint runs out. I'm going to leave it light up at the top, leave the bottom part darker. I'm not worried about how squirrely this is because I'll add some color over the top that'll make it work. Looks like he's, that's not good. So we'll change that shape. He's a little too young for chewing tobacco, so we'll see what else we can do here. Yeah, I like that lighter. See, the light is really making his face pop out better. And part of my favorite part of painting is just throwing paint like this and coming up with some just really cool happy accidents. Because I'm not conscious of what I'm doing until I step back and look at it and go, wow, or uh-oh. Either way, it's fun. It's a good surprise. Yeah, I like that. It's a lot better. I'm going into the hat Because you know what, I'll go over the top of the hat like that, so it's okay if I get some on there. This is not a place to be timid. And besides, again, I was too careful for most of the show. Not too careful. I was as careful as I needed to be for what I was doing. Ooh, I like that. Okay, I have to spread this out just a little bit, and then I'm going to add some of that green gold. Daniel Smith makes this great green gold that is just a really cool glaze. Now, I don't want a halo thing around his hat there. That just looks stupid, so he does not have a halo there. Even if he does look angelic. Okay, so there's this. Now I'm going straight into the green gold. Oh yeah, see, that's bright, loud, woohoo, something going on in the background. Because you know, the place where I took the reference photo, there's just lots of action going on in the background. All kinds of events, people practicing. God, that's a great color. Throwing it right in over the top of that light that I put. I'm scribbling. How fun is that? Cool. More of this green gold here to tie this in. I'm getting this light off of my brush. Letting some of the dark show underneath. Being careful, fairly careful, not to get into the scarf that we just painted. Why am I not as concerned about the hat? Because it's already dry. I can take a paper towel, knock some of it off. And when I go back over the top, it's not going to be a big deal. And I'll wait till this dries before I clean up the hat. Okay, I like that. See some lines going there, so I need to add a little more gold, and we're going to unify this, take this down so that it doesn't look so random. Love that. Adjusting my shapes. I have to get out red because I think I've gone an entire episode, this is definitely a record, without putting any red down. That's just amazing. That's great. That's starting to unify that. See how nice you can just throw that in over the top? All right, let's get some red. What do we want to put some red? Let's give him some little rosy cheeks or something. Just something. Okay, I'm just kidding. I mean, I barely have my brush. Let's see. Oh, and his ears need to be a little redder too. Throwing a little red there. A little red right here. Yep, then I'll just tidy that up a little with a clean brush. Okay, so what do you do to finish this painting? Well, I would see how we glazed over the top of this with some nice bright color. I'm going to glaze over the top of this and put the shadows back into the shirt, add some lights, reinstate the darks and lights in every place, because when you blend it, it all goes down to medium. So basically, it's maybe 2 or 3 more layers of what we just did tonight and what we did on the other show. So I hope that you give something like this a shot, something that's got people and realize that they're not always going to be done in one session. So thanks so much for watching Give Your Wall Some Soul. I'm Shannon Grissom.